Hello. Hello, cutie patooties. Hello. Greetings, lovely beans. Hi. How is everyone today? Whoa. Why is this not working? Wait. My chat's frozen. Okay, give me 1 second. I need to reload chat because apparently nothing is. Or I don't know what's been happening, but like the Twitch dashboard in the last like month and a half has been breaking so much for me every time when I'm streaming. And I don't know why. Alright, there you go. Hi. Yitzo, congratulations on first week. How's it going? You've been addicted to disco? I have no idea what you're talking about. What are you on about? Also, Plaus, congratulations on your second. And wait, didn't you? Yeah, you had 57% Friday as well, didn't you? That's wild. Hola. Only because they keep adding new useless stuff to their code. I mean, I know they've been adding, but the thing that's confusing to me is this. To my knowledge, they haven't really changed anything with the dashboard, but the dashboard keeps breaking. It's very odd. Because I know they've been adding other stuff, but it's an odd one, that's for sure. Alright. Give me 1 second. I need to... Right. Oh! Okay, chat. Here you go. I present to you Bitcraft and Cat. Hi, Goisla. Hello, Goisla. How is the loveliest bear doing today? How is our friendly neighborhood bear? You having a good Sunday so far? It is surprisingly more. It's like it's cooler. Like in all actual metrics, it is cooler today than it was on Friday, and yet it doesn't feel much cooler. I mean, part of it's probably also because I don't have my aircon on now, obviously. But like, I'm like I feel like uncomfortably sweaty right now, and I hate it. I despise it. But otherwise, we're good. The loveliest bear? Yes. Well, who else would I be talking to? If not you. Sunbear Sundays going well, thank you. Yay, I'm glad to hear that, lovely. Good. Yeah, today's gonna be a nice, just like slow, chill day. There's probably not gonna be like too much going on in terms of stuff to do, but I have already started planning because I wanted to still do a stream related to like my birthday, so I'm thinking it's gonna be at the end of the month, so the last week of August, so in 2 weeks from now, basically. I haven't decided if it'll be on the Friday or the Sunday yet, but I'm gonna poke some friends first, and then we're gonna figure that out, and then we'll probably have some fun co-op games. We'll have some giveaways and all the other fun celebratory stuffies as usual. You guys are also very sweet. Thank you for the Dead as Disco stream the other day, Mr. Kitty Cat. It was the push I needed to buy it for myself, and I'm so glad I did. I did not have this much fun with a game in months. It's perfect for my bear brain. No, you need to thank Gitzo for that. Gitzo was the one who actually bought the game for me as a gift, and is the reason that I was playing it in the first place. Because like I had it on my wish list as well, and I was in the exact same situation of like, I think I'll like it, but like, you know, I didn't have like that push to get it. And then Gitzo bought it, and oh my god, it is. I'm in the exact same boat as you, Guzzler. I don't think a game has like activated my neurons in the same way for like a decent amount of time. Like I have had a lot of like I have had the pleasure and like the blessing to get to play a lot of really good games. Right? Like I think more often than not I've been lucky to end up playing a game that's really good, really cozy. So like it's always just been like I've been very lucky with that. But a lot of the games that I play or like that we play on stream, I tend to have this problem where when I'm not streaming or I don't have like an immediate plan of what I want to play for the day, I end up just kind of like staring at my computer and I can never really convince myself to play any given game. And usually I need something kind of short and easy to pick up. Like some sort of like PvP game when I'm in that state so that I can just kind of do something for like 20-30 minutes and then carry on with my life. And now having Dead as Disco has completely like taken over that role, and oh my god, it's so good. And yeah, Gitso, you were so right about Hemlock's actual song, because I knew they had Maniac in there. And then I assumed, obviously, yeah, because streamer mode would have it blocked. I didn't realize that that was the one that was, like, Hemlock's song. It fits so much better. the whatever it was, like, Anarchy or whatever, I think is what the name. I'm so bad with song titles. It's, like, pretty good. But, like, it's still a good song, don't get me wrong. But, like, Maniac, it's insanely hard, especially the first transition where you do like the da 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 on the guy. Oh my god, beautiful, phenomenal, 10 out of 10. I think Hemlock is so far my favorite. I will say I hate Aurora. I still hate Aurora. I've played a couple of the different round, like all the different like some of the different story ones. I even did Hemlock now on Intense. Super fun. Still hate Aurora. The song is good. I just don't like it like gameplay. I just cannot get into the flow in that fight. And I don't like the enemies that it has. It's just, I'm not a fan of her attack patterns. Just the whole thing is a big bleh. But everything else, love. Hi, Soar. Hello, Soaring. How is our lovely Utah Soaring? Oh no, wait, you're not on here. Well, yeah. Well, in that case, you know what? One, I'm gonna do this, and then two, I'm gonna hit you on retaliate because you can't hear what I'm saying. Chat, if you aren't already, you should go follow Soaring. Soaring is wonderful, amazing, and just pure immaculate vibes. So go give them lots of love, please, and thank you. Literally me, I've not fallen into the league cesspit since buying it. Yeah, exactly. That was like my thing, right? Is like a game like League or Deadlock or any of those kinds of like PvP like sort of shorter games that you can just kind of keep yourself in for like 30 minutes and then move on. Those are really easy, and those are like the ones that I always end up defaulting to when I don't know what to play. Because like a lot of the games that I normally play are much bigger time investments. And when I'm not sure what I want to play, it's hard for me to pick a game that's a big time investment. Right? And so, because like you don't pick up an RPG to play for like 5 minutes. And a lot of the roguelites that I've got, I've kind of like, I wouldn't say burnt out on them, but like I've kind of just like struggled to like, a lot of them I've kind of achieved most of the goals that I wanted to have in them, so it's harder for me to actually like motivate myself to do anything in them. Yeah. I really like the stream safe one. Authority, that was it, not Anarchy. The modding community is fantastic too. All the tracks I've downloaded are all fun songs. I actually know I played a lot of Osu, but most of the tracks there are all anime tracks, which isn't really my thing. That's fair. I also just love, like, it's not even just the modding community though, because the game itself just lets you import songs in. I tried that out today for the first time. Earlier, like today, I imported just a song into the game and then did it on free play for a little bit, and it's like, my expectations were not super high. Because, like, you know, there's just kind of the thing of, like, yeah, how do you plan for just the pure, like, range of possibilities when you allow people to, like, upload a song in and then you have to tempo the entire game to that song? But it actually works crazy well. I'm sure, like, the actual, like, custom-made maps and stuff that people do are probably, like, even better, but still, very impressed. One of the smoke songs I know, rather than Mew Mew Kissy Kitty Season 24 theme music. Oh, dear. Excuse you. I thought Mew Mew Kissy Cutie Season 24 had phenomenal. Not quite as good as Season 19, but still. Can't beat Sea of Thieves without it. Yeah, exactly. Like, there's so many games, like, when you boot them up, you know you're gonna be, like, locking in a certain amount of time, right? And especially when I haven't, like, preemptively decided that I want to, like, lock in that amount of time yet for something, it's really hard to, like, be like, okay, I'm gonna go play this, right? Like, for example, I've been really enjoying Europa Universalis 5, but you don't play that for 30 minutes. You play that for, like, 6 hours. I plays. How is Cutie Blaster? I saw the thingy you sent. I did not implement it yet, but I will put it in probably either tonight or tomorrow before stream, and then test it, and then hopefully it should work. I imagine. Very rare for Plaz to make something. Yeah, crazy skill boy. I don't know. I didn't like the fan service they kept shoving in. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. It definitely, like, from season 9 onwards, it definitely got very fan servicey. Doing well, making pizza for dinner. Fair. There, please. Please. Please give pita. Give some pita, please. The I pita, not the E pita, of course. Of course, thank you. And DMZ's DMD, E and D. Session last night went really well too. I got to introduce my definitely not a hag lady and my favorite of the 3 vampire mini bosses. I've done with nobody suspecting a thing. Oh, that's always the most fun. It's so nice when you get to, like, when you can introduce a plot to his character and they don't recognize it yet. The thing that I find that, like, at least for me, the hardest skill to learn with those kinds of, like, villains or antagonists is balancing the nature of, like, balancing the plot twist with, like, actual evidence, right? Like, giving enough hints that retrospectively they realize, like, oh, yeah, it makes sense that this was the villain because this, and this. Because, like, if you don't do anything like that, and then you just suddenly are like, oh, by the way, this person that was, like, super nice to you the entire time, they're actually the villain, and they're here to kill you. Like, it feels unsatisfying if it's, like, too big of just a sudden change. But then if you give too much evidence and it becomes, like, too predictable, I still struggle with, like, finding that nice balance for, like, an optimal plot twist. I think it's a really, to be fair, like, considering most media that I've seen, it seems to be a pretty difficult skill for a lot of people. So, considering, like, the majority of shows and movies these days. Yeah, it's still something that I, like, find really hard to do. How are you balancing the bear? Angel, hello. Congratulations on your third. Welcome on in, Bean. How are you doing today? How's it going? What are you up to? Put you over there. Our players played the campaign before and recognized them both, but kept quiet. Well, that's good. That's good. That's also very good. Because that would be very unfortunate if they just immediately spoiled that. The hag isn't a hag this time around, but the vampire was his mortal enemy last time. She's an author writing about Valley. So she's clued into a lot of stuff and gave their first hint towards my secret Oop Garo boss. I'm familiar with that. She's also an arcane trickster sororg with a couple magic abilities, including being able to hide from undead detection. Ooh. Ah, the good old arcane tricksters, man. You gotta love them and hate them. You gotta hate them, but like in the good way. I don't know what I even did. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it, hot stuff. Oh, that's the werewolf that you showed, right? The, like, transformed... kind of slightly... like, mutated werewolf with the bees in the chest, right? Or bees in the belly? Is that the one? Soaring, thank you for the hydrate. Alright, chat. If I have to hydrate, so you better drink some water right now. Or else. Okay? I'm watching you. Look, I can see that you didn't drink your water, alright? You're not gonna get away with that. Drink it now. Come on. Oi. Yeah, you. Specifically you. Honestly. Rats these. All of you. Gonna got a few spells as she's mostly a rogue, having learned them from another of the mini-bosses who's a full-on wizard. Ah. We love interconnected bosses. I think that's another thing that, in my experience, a lot of like, especially I think beginner dungeon masters, like DMs, forget when they're putting together like a story or a campaign, is like, it's not just about your big final boss. Like, you can't, like, I think a lot of people tend to put a lot of, like, most people always put a lot of effort into the final boss, which makes sense, right? The big bad evil guy's gotta be special. It's kind of like a crux of the campaign. But a lot of, like, the other, like mini bosses and other like characters along the way tend to kind of get left by the wayside, especially mini bosses. I find happens a lot because they just kind of you just kind of pick out like a monster from the monster manual and you're like, okay, this will be a good mini boss, instead of like, you know, actually like taking time to kind of craft and interconnect them to the rest of the story. Which of course, like, it's a lot of effort, it takes a bunch of time, but I think that's like one of the bigger skills that like helps you go out, evolve out of that like beginner DM status. Maybe I'm just rambling nameless. I was gonna say something now. I can't remember what I was gonna say. Had like a thought in the back of my mind and it just disappeared. This is problematic. This happens too often. The Alzheimer's, man, it's coming for me. Grandpa Cat is gonna be going into the old age home soon. Meanwhile, we're just gonna say, I think what I'm gonna do is maybe gather a few shipments, see if we can get to level like 62, and then go back to town and maybe work on the pirates maps. I should have a bunch of those open. And combine all of that. Where? Where we go from there. Three of them are God's consorts, so it makes sense they'd know each other. One's a wizard who's desperate to escape, or one's a rogue whose endgame is just pure chaos, doing things for Strahd just to see what happens, and the third is a noble lady fighter who wants to be the top dog instead of the destined love, but can't do it. Oh. Made it to level 60. Oh, 60. In sailing, or... were you doing something else, play? Oh, wait, or are you playing Final Fantasy? I'm confused. Wait. Which of the many things are you referring to that you could be level 60 in? Book is written there, just some name generic vampires, one with art and silly reference. The Bards of Dracula, so I'm super happy. Fleshed out. Oh, nice. Yeah, see, that's what I mean. Like, even the books tend to do. Where, like, a lot of, like, outside of, like, the main bad guy, everything kind of just gets a bit... yeah. Kind of dropped. Like 69 power maps? Ooh. Did them in one go. I'm actually getting close to a mythic amount of doubloons. Let's go! Good on you, Plash. I'll stop yapping. Time to wash my fur. Have a great time, gang. Okie dokie, guys, law. Thank you for hanging and for the yap, lovely. Have a good wash. Make sure to get the fur at the behind the legs. Everyone always forgets behind the legs. Man, this is annoying. I've got like so. Okay. I'm gonna quickly be right back, chat. Like a quick, like 2 minutes. Yeah, sorry. Okay, back. I'll wait about that. Where are we? Hi, Pendris. Hello, lovely bean. 31. Oh, dear. The gay rolls have not been good recently, huh? Like, the post-pride gay is just, yeah, there you go. See? Oh my goodness. Case in point. The gay rolls, the gay ain't doing it today. It is a very straight day. Yeah, I think Gitzo's 57 is the highest we've gotten today. Which is kind of crazy. Yeah, there you go. Of 5 rolls, the highest we've gotten was a 57. We need some more gays in the chat. Chat. Summon your gays. Open your closets. Let them out. We need them. Please. For the sake of the gay. Oh, goodness. This is what I'm saying, man. Everyone's just rolling straight today. But hi, Neverland. Welcome in, welcome in. Quite ironic if you keep in mind that Europe is flaming hot right now. Yeah. The gays just getting cooked out of here. That's the excuse that I'm gonna keep rolling with. When it gets too gay, when it gets too hot, you can't be gay. You know? Like there's a certain temperature to which the heat supports the gay, and then after a certain like ceiling, then it absolutely just destroys the gay. And that's where we are now. That is science. Trust. Mm-hmm. Okay. No, we start like Tory space, so there's nothing to worry about with things getting empty. It's also just barely. I'm glad Nala at least lying on a part of the pillow that's actually visible. Otherwise, this cat cam would be very pointless. I mean, it still is kind of, considering about the tiny. She's barely in frame. Silly kitty. Where are we? Oh, we're around here. If we go down to more shipments again. We'll do like a nice big batch shipments, and then head back, do some maps. Try and get our doubloonies in. I do think, like, I still feel like there's kind of need to get more doubloons because I want to upgrade my trinkets. However, I do think there's like a part of me that's kind of I'm satisfied with the aisles. I think, like, to a certain extent, I kind of wish the aisles content was like a bit quicker. Maybe. Like I do, like I like the fact that they didn't make it a really short event, right? So that if someone was gone for like a week or two, they didn't miss half the event. With that being said, I do think, like, in order to max it out, you basically needed to play about like 80 to 90% of that time frame that the Isles is out. If you wanted to get all the trinkets and stuff. And obviously if you like buy them and stuff. But if you're just purely grinding it yourself. And I think, like, maybe if it was a bit less intensive on that end. But I think, I don't know. Like, to a certain extent, I like what they did with the Isles, but I also think that the Isles caused a lot of people to burn out on the game. And I'm not sure if it's actually something that they could do something about, or if it's because just like, yeah. Because it also just kind of coincides with now the game having been in early access too for a decent amount of time now that people have been able to kind of settle into where they are in the game. Kind of similar to what happened in early access 1. At the lost treasure. A big one. Oh, la. Supposed to stay on the bed. Now the cat cam doesn't have a cat. Sometimes, man, this cat. I don't get it. Oh. Nope. I think she swapped over to another dimension. It's gosh darn interdimensional cats, man. Every single time. Why do I always... I feel like there's this weird like state of timing that whenever I start doing something, that's when all of a sudden I start getting messages. It happens a lot when I'm streaming, but like whenever I'm doing anything. Or maybe it's because I'm like streaming that I notice it more. Now I have like Discord and stuff up. I wonder. Maybe I'm just paying more attention. It's actually not the case. That would be on brand. I think I am looking forward to like the point when the Isles are over to like actually start focusing on projects back in like the mainland and the stuff. Because I'd like to start. Peace. What was noise? Meow so politely. What do you want? Never meow. Baby. There's the claw. You want to go and lap? Okay. Cat has been lapped. Can you maybe like slightly? No, you're. Thank you, no. Getting slapped with it. While a kitty on my lap. I'm getting mixed signals. Because the tail is giving annoyed. But the purrs and the rest of her general vibe is giving very happy and content. Maybe. I have such a strange cat. That's you? You are the weird cat? How does it feel? Rubbing the side of her head into my hand. Forcefully as her body can. Oh look, this does not look comfortable. Oh, no. Now she's turned her head to force the other side in. This at least looks slightly more. Or perhaps the correct terminology would slightly less uncomfortable. Because it still don't look comfy. Yes, baby. Give you all of your cut. Okay. Oh dear. The world beyond seems to be a little bit shattered again. Oh, now I've lost an arm. Oh. He's definitely... I think someone has been in a slight lack of cuddles recently. I've now... my entire arm is... Sorry, I did not mean to move my arm. Very uncomfortable, Nala. The arm has been freed. Pita bread is moldy? Oh no. What the heck, Klaus? Ow. When do you... wait. When does bread not survive for 1 week? Well, I mean, when it's really, really hot. Things tend to rot faster when it's really hot. And especially if it's hot and humid or damp. Which it has been for like the past week. Not to mention that, I mean, unless they made the bread fresh that morning, it's probably older than a week. You forgot to put it. That's gonna... that's not gonna help. Probably also not freshly made, exactly. Generally it would last. We usually, like, unless we're, like... because we get pita breads. When we go to, like, the butcher to get our, to get things like shawarma and stuff like that, they usually give us a pack of pita breads along with it. So most of our pita breads we just put in the freezer until we're actually gonna use it. So we do have a freezer drawer that's like full of pita bread. But the bright side is it is least stable in there. Pita mushroom. I just had one package though. I just eat at least twice. Oh yeah. But that's what I'm saying. Like, if you're, I don't know. I'm assuming you intentionally bought the pita and didn't like get it with something. But it is always worth putting it in the freezer if you're not planning to use it like fairly quickly. Because generally, I don't think, like, pita, in my experience, doesn't last that long outside of cooling. Gonna be a Caesar salad now? Oh. No. What if you do pita without the pita? Just do everything that you were gonna put in the pita, but then without the pita. Thoughts? Thoughts? I think this is a brilliant idea. Oh shit, there's an ad break coming. Alright, chat. It's time for you to stand up and stretch and get yourself a drink and a snack and do all of your self-care for the next 3 minutes. Or otherwise, you'll have to sit through the money-making schemes of Bezos. Yeah, go take care of yourselves, beans. And I'll see you on the other side of the ad break, okay? Good idea, so basically a Caesar salad. You put Caesar salads inside of your pita? Question mark? Either I have a different interpretation of what a Caesar salad is, or you have a different interpretation of what you put in pita. There is a dissonance here, and I'm not sure on which side it is. It's probably me, but... Hi, Star. Holy shit! God damn! Trust Star to come in here and break the curse. Star snatching all the gay, apparently. Apparently. Just a straight 41% above second place is crazy, bro. Oh. Oh. They call her Star. Stealer of... God. Nala's doing... So Nala does this thing a lot. I don't know, like... Nala and Simba both tend to do this a decent amount. But I don't usually see a lot of other cats that do this. I'm curious if anyone else's cats do this often. But where... They'll go into, like, loafing pose, right? They'll go into loaf state, right? But then they'll take one paw, or like one like leg, one of their front legs, and just stretch that out in a straight line in front of them. Nala does this a lot. Simba does it sometimes, or a decent amount, but like not as much as Nala does. Most other cats that I see, either they will loaf, or they'll put both front legs out, like Sphinx pose style. But these two idiots like to just be halfway between both the like Sphinx pose and the loaf. And I don't quite know why. It's especially funny when she's like on the edge of something, because she'll also do this when she's like on the edge of a bed or on a pillow or wherever. Because then the extended front paw will just hang in the air. And it looks so unbelievably uncomfortable. And then she will fall asleep while doing it. Actually, it's crazy. Silly bean. Probably mine. I wouldn't be so sure. I could also have an incorrect. We're in the gay crisis, and Star's like, what do you mean? What gay crisis? What gay shortage? Star's just been hoarding. Star's just been hoarding all of the gay. Safely in her little storage container. Got a little box on her shelf. It just says gay on it. That's where she stores it. To make sure that she can always be the gayest. Why are you looking all angry at me? Nala just had like a wild sneeze. And then she stared at me as if I did it. Like she looked so angry at me because of her own sneeze. You good, Beam? I think my cat has lost it. Hey Samari! Hello, hello. Come in. How's it going? What game is this? Do you remember? I know, right? I think Bitcraft has definitely kind of gone into its like sort of hibernation state for a lot of people. I barely see like region chat talking. Even here, for everyone in Lumithus, there's only 2 of us online in Lumithus Landing right now. It's crazy. Whereas before we had like 20 people on it. Oh. Flopped against my chair. I thought she wanted to leave, but I guess not. It's always your fault. You're right. It's I should know better. Okay, you're right. You're right. It is. It is. I thought you were also in the claim. Did you not? Huh. Enough. Fair enough. Level 69 carpentry. Let's go. Good job, Star. Well done. Just a little bit more, and you'll get one step closer to upgrading your little old clipper. What all do you need for your Clipper 3? Mile mapping region 12. Ah, I see. Nice. You've been gathering, discovering the world. I think it would be cool at some point. I would like to, at some point in the future, actually start, like, traveling around like that. Like, exploring the other regions a bit more thoroughly. Maybe trying to get the map achievement at some point. Probably not anytime soon, though. I want to upgrade my clipper, I think, before I do that. Which, to be fair, I can. I think I'm high enough to go for clipper 2. But I've just been kind of lacking in motivation for Bitcraft recently. I think what I need... Because before, it was really easy for me to have Bitcraft on in the background. I think right now, again, because I feel like when I'm on Bitcraft, I need to be doing stuff in the Isle. Because it's a temporary region. This is entirely my own fault, right? Like, I don't know if other people feel the same way or not, but like, because while the Isles are here, I feel like any time I don't spend in the Isles is like, quote-unquote, wasted time. But then again, because all the Isles stuff is so active, it's hard for me to just kind of have the game on in the background while I do other things. Because, like, ideally, what I was doing before the Isles came out, right, was even when I was playing another game, I just had Bitcraft on in the background and my guy was just gathering or crafting or you know, processing whatever. Just had him constantly doing like some work in the background because I only needed to tab in every like 10 minutes to set him on a task again. And so I could comfortably play like other games while all that was happening. But you can't really do that with any of the gameplay loops in the Isles, besides fishing. To be fair, I could do it with fishing, but I'd need other people. I don't have the fishing equipment, and otherwise it's gonna cost so much, so much stuff. So much of the, like, chum. Don't have, like, the proper fishing. So I think, like, as a result, I just basically haven't been playing much. Because, again, if I log in, if I were to go back to, like, the mainlands and play there, I'd feel like I'm, like, wasting my potential time that I could be spending in the Isles to get the other stuff. Like, if I had completed all the Isles content, it would be different. But because I haven't, right? Like, that weird, like, self-imposed expectation. I think a lot of people go back to the mainlands and do normal stuff. I don't know. I think a lot of... I don't know. Like, that's the thing that I'm not so sure about, is whether or not... Whether, like, the lack of people in the Isles is because people have gone back to the mainlands, or it's because, like, a lot of people have stopped playing at the moment. Because I feel like both are kind of applicable. You know? Hi, Rocket. Hello. Welcome in, B. You need 20 alts, exactly. I just need to get a bunch of alts to help me collect all of my doubloons. Around with life. I've never really felt the need to have alts, to be honest. Like, I don't have an issue with people that do decide to use alts, because at the end of the day, you're buying the game a second time. Like, I think some people are a bit overzealous regarding, like, the usage of alts to, like, help process resources and stuff like that, and I really don't think it's as big of an issue as, like, some people seem to be making it as if it's like a game breaking thing. Really don't think it is. But yeah, I don't know. Be different if they were, like, actively negatively impacting. I don't really feel like they are in any meaningful way. Time. Any room on that boat for one more? Oh, for sure. For sure. There's always room on this boat for a bobcat. Especially one with a rocket attached. Joe got 5th, and he had 700 chums, so I got 500 and gave the rest to another person. So we got chum to try and get... Yeah! We just need the equipment for it, though. Fishing required... Yeah, no, for... Not brute fishing. So, the Paranensis... You have to chum it multiple times each time to get it up a level. But if you use the auric stuff, like there's certain fishing equipment that gives increased fishing power, that then makes the chumming also have more power. Right? So instead of, like, if you needed to put 5, like if it has 5 health to go up to the next level of, like, chumming, you could use 5 chum, each giving 1, or if you have the auric ring and the newbie gloves, both are the ones for fishing, each of those give, like, additional power, which then as a result means that 1 chum is going to count for more health. Right? The auric ring is +2. I think the newbie gloves are also +2, so then that would mean, like, 1 chum would now count for 5. And so then instead of throwing away like 20 chum. I don't remember how much chum it is. Fully chum, the parent answer. But instead of throwing away like 20 chum each time you want to try and get 5th, you throw away like a fraction of that instead. For like efficiency. I think Kitty wants to leave. To release the feline. Oh, baby. Asking. Being screamed at by my. Somebody help. Hey, go chat. She screamed at me, so I threw her on the bed. She's so confused. Like, what? Okay, I guess I'm just gonna sit down here. Oh. Right. Let me see. Where are we? I missed a bunch of chat stuff. I'll have mapped all the regions within the next week and unsure what I'll do after, or if I'll still enjoy the game, to be honest. That's fair. The thing, I think the joy with Bitcraft is, for the most part, right? With the exception if you're running your own settlement, there's nothing in the game that requires you to be constantly playing. So like, and I think the devs know this. To my understanding, that's also kind of part of like their design philosophy, is that you should be able to put down Bitcraft for like a month when you're not really feeling it, and then come back to it when there's a big update of something that you're really interested in, and then you can like kind of fall in love with the game again with all the other updates that have happened since you stopped playing, right? So like I think it's important not to like try and force yourself to keep playing the game if you don't have anything that really interests you in that time. And instead you can kind of just set it down, wait for some updates, and then come back. Heck, that's what I did between Early Access 1 and Early Access 2. I burnt out in the game very quickly in Early Access 1. And then once Early Access, I like started to like stop. Then they did the dungeon updates. Like they brought out the dungeons. Then I played again for a bit. And then after a while I stopped playing again, and then I basically didn't play until Early Access 2. And like afterwards it was really fun because there were so many like new updates and new like content things that had been added along the way that I obviously hadn't experienced at the time. Like most of the prospecting stuff. Super fun. Everyone loves prospecting, right? Me and my homies all love prospecting. I almost have enough for the max level book. Let's go, Rocket. I took a break. Right now I'm mainly doing rice and sometimes sailing. Accidentally overlevel my rice without realizing. Oh no, Rocket. What level do you need? Because I have level 4 and level 5 rice. If you need any of those. I can help you with either of those. The wild rocket. This be piracy. Hand over your booty and nobody gets hurt. Unfortunately, my booty has to stay with me at all times. It is a much desired commodity. Getting close to T7. Damn, players. I can farm T4 rice, but I turned all of my tier 4 into tier 5. Oh yeah, if you need some tier, I should have some tier 4 rice. So I can give you some of the extra ones that I got. And you can kind of regrow your rice. I bought a fishing ring yesterday. Got the newbie glove and fishing hook. Oh, okay, you got all the... Oh, right, there's the fishing hook now as well. I forgot about that. I wanted to get the max level book and compass, but I missed 2 weeks of grinding, so I'm still 9k away from even getting the book. Well, I mean, you still got plenty of time. We've got until the 3rd of September. Because they had extended the event by 2 weeks. So... it should definitely be possible for you to get both still. Yeah, they extended the event by 2 weeks, because it was supposed to end... What's Thursday? It was supposed to end next Thursday, the 20th. So 4 days from now. But there's been a lot of like connection issues and like server issues recently, so they ended up, as part of like a sort of recompense for that, extending the event by 2 weeks. To help kind of counter out anything that people have lost from not being able to play. Yeah. Everyone always says, release the hounds. No one ever says release the felines. I always say release the feline. Release the bears. I don't think anyone needs to release the bears. The bears are always wild and free. Hi, Nequo. Hello, cutie. Also, Guzzler, 100%. God dang. Okay, I'm catching up on chat again. Sorry. How is Cutie Necro doing? How was your stream? Lovely. Did you have a good time in Risk of Wayne? Man, policy everyone can agree on. The cat bully. Oh, not bully. She's just getting her attention. She was screaming at me because she didn't know what to do, so I gave her a choice. I gave her something to do, which is lie on the bed and be cute. For you guys. See? Not bully. Not all of it. Usually it goes gradually. Have some left over and slowly turn price to the next tier. Yeah, exactly. That's generally what I would recommend is to poach the rice that way. So don't upgrade all your rice, but just upgrade your excess so that you can kind of keep growing. Because that's what I've been doing. I've been growing full batches of tier 4 rice, and then each batch, like I'll plant a new batch of tier 4 rice to grow, and then a few of the excess, like tier 4 plants of rice that I have left over, I then upgrade to 5 each time. I've slowly been building up a stock of tier 5 rice, even though, because I can't actually grow the tier 5 rice yet, because I haven't. I need to get a new hoe. I need to swap out and get a better hoe. And it's crazy. I have a bad hoe, of all people. My plans for getting better rice have been dashed. Oh no, Bean. Yeah. It was fun. Hope you're all good. Yeah, we're doing good, Bean. We're just cozying. We're just chilling out. I have the right hoe for tier 5 rice, but didn't realize I needed level 50. Ah, yes. Yeah, you need to be the correct level of the crop that you want. Just like with gathering, planting crops also requires the same level here. Well, like 1 tier lower of equipment is usable. Levels still like. Or what is I'm curious what we're gonna do with all the rice plants once the event ends. That is one where I'm like, they're just all gonna like poof away, or okay. I did also leave my 38k doubloons in there for almost an hour. Wait, I did leave some tier 5 rice and tier 6 rice in the swap box for anyone to take. I also left 38k doubloons in there for almost an hour before realizing what I'd done. Luckily, they were still there when I came back. I was very tired. Oh dear, Rocket. Billy Bean. Yeah, I think most people, if they saw doubloons in the swap box, they would have assumed that it was like accident. I did also note the locusts will eat all the rice when the event ends and the age of famine will begin. We shall starve. Oh, because we have our onions. Or potatoes. Or both. Still don't know what star bulbs are supposed to be. We have our bulbs. There will be no star bulb famine. I thought it was the bank. I'll take some tier 5 rice when I get back. Need to see why my rice poofs on maintenance day. Oh, right. I forgot about that. Yeah. Star has magical disappearing rice every time the servers update. The onion potato blight cometh. Pretty sure star bulbs are onions. And stuff describes him as oniony. Yeah, but like I remember having this discussion with someone because we were talking about the star bulbs, right? It was something about it where maybe it's been changed now. Yeah, now they're oh, there we go. Can be husked into starlight onions. But there was at one point where I think have they changed the descriptions? Yeah. Because I remember calling them onions, and then somebody else was saying, "Oh, there we go. There, the fish and bulbs. Fish arranged in a dish with salty fried potatoes. That's it. Yeah. So in fish and bulbs, it says fish in a dish with salty fried potatoes. But then the star bulbs themselves are starlight onions. that was it. Because I remember having that discussion because of that discrepancy. Because, like, technically they're onions, but When you mix them with fish, apparently they're potatoes. So they're just both. Maybe had it with me and Sokars, we both assumed they were potatoes. Wait, what? They are onion, but exactly, they're both. You get the best of both. Although, I guess actually no, it does kind of make sense because, like, at least for me, onions and potatoes are like two of the vegetables that I think I cook with the most. So if those were fused into a single plant, that would make cooking a lot easier. Fish and chips sounds nice, kind of nice. Just right about now. Oh, now you're gonna make me hungry. Oh, make me hungry. I want fish and chips. My collection of traveler's fruit has grown since I can now just buy them. True. You can just toss your doubloons to Roomba for traveler's fruit. Have you made your traveler tonic thing? Did you make a traveler's tonic already, stuff? Or whatever it's called. Draw to the traveler. That's the one. This. You get this from there. 5 traveler's fruits, 10 tier 4 catalysts, a bucket, and a tier 4 vial. You can make one draw to the traveler at the scholar station. And it gives you plus 10 maximum teleportation in. Oh, there's a huge problem. What if I want to add some grilled onions to my sandwich, but suddenly it's a bunch of potato slices because I made a fish sandwich? Yep. Mistakes were made. What? Try that and end up with onion fries with caramelized sweet. Oh. Fries with caramelized. Onion fries with caramelized potatoes. I'm trying to imagine a caramelized potato, but I don't think, like, can't, because it's all starchy, so you can't really caramelize potatoes. Permanent plus 10? Yes, it is permanent. It is just a permanent, like, it's a max increase to your station in. It's one of the many minor, like, stat upgrades you can get. Plus 20. No, Draw to the Traveler says it's plus 10. Okay. Energy by 10. But there is another, oh, no, oh, the fruit. Yeah. Yeah, no, the fruit gives you 20 teleportation energy, but that's not a max increase. But the potion increases your max by 10. Really nice. Very useful. Means you get to stock up on a lot more TP energy for when you eventually go on big adventures. Or if you just want to be lazy and teleport some stuff across the map. There we go, level 62. Fruit gives you almost 1 day's worth of TP energy. Correct. Each fruit is another 20 TP. And that drought means you can stock basically half a day, almost half a day of extra energy as well. Like right now, I haven't really been teleporting much, so it hasn't been a priority for me to get. But I do think once we're done, because I think I've got enough TP ready to make the potion. I just need the other stuff, which I think we have back at home. And it'll be time to do a bunch more grinding. Energy. Eat. Eat the egg. Just 5 more levels to go until magic number. 7 more levels until magic. There. Must go back and get more fruit. Yes. Definitely. Make sure, whatever you guys do, make sure that by the end of the event, you have at least 5 travelers fruit. At least 5. So that you can make the potion. Or, make the potion already. But if you can't make the potion right now, at least make sure that you get to your 5 traveler fruits. So that you can make the potion later. I assume they won't add railroads, but could be cool. And high. And for fast transportation of goods. Yeah, no, railroads aren't gonna be a thing. People have talked about, wanting things like trains, but a big part of the, design philosophy is that all transportation of, resources and needs to be done by players. And something like a train, essentially, quote-unquote, the idea of the train is how people think of a train, would automate that process, and that's not something... But as for highways, there are a lot of, big roads in the region already. I think eventually, trying to connect those up. Likewise, I would love if they had the ability to dig canals to transport goods faster. They are very wary about water terraforming. Because it is, again, water terraforming is another one of those things that a lot of people want. Both the ability to create, tunnels for water, or, pathways of water, and to remove water. For, construction and, quote-unquote, land reclamation. The problem and the reason why, they haven't added that, and they've been very, hesitant to add it, is because they're trying to find a way that they can implement it without it becoming, without it being used to control. And the problem is right now, or at least in the way that people think about water terraforming, is that it would open up a lot of opportunities for people to, troll others. Because, if we take, let me go to the map real quick, give an example. So, obviously, you can't see all the claims here if you're, because we're not in this region. But if we take this river for it, you've got this really long river connecting from sea near the municipality. There's a bunch of little claims all along here, along the water. And now if any of these claims want to go out to sea, they have to sail all the way across the river out here. Now the problem is, let's say for example, there is a claim, well it's not even an example, but like there's a claim over here of friends. And they've got a road that goes all the way over to here, but it can't actually connect over because of the river. So, in theory, you could terraform, if you were able to water terraform, to seal this up so that you can create your road. Problem is, by sealing this up, you're cutting off all these other people that are downstream from being able to now access the ocean with their boats, and vice versa. Or even then, like even in smaller situations, imagine there's like a claim right over here, or like right over here, and they want to expand a bit more. Like the problem that you have with that is that you end up being able to cut people off from being able to access water or being able to access the ocean. And the inverse of that is also you'd be able to troll people by basically terraforming the area around their claim into water. So let's say there's a nice little claim over here, but I don't know, you've got a claim here, there's a claim over here, you've had an argument with these people. So while they're offline, you go and just terraform like water all around here and basically cutting them off from all of their land for transport, and then they either have to go to the effort of terraforming it all back, or, you know, have to deal with the fact that they're now all of a sudden an island. And that's basically why they haven't added water terraforming yet. Until they can find a way to implement it without being able to cause those kinds of problems. 15 if you have also fair. You got your speed fruit for running or mount speed and carrot on. It's true. I'd want to train you have to drive or have a conductor for. Yeah, but then you have the problem that you would need somebody to do it, and then two, it still trivializes transportation when roads essentially already perform that role by making you faster for your resource transportation. Essentially Foxhole style logistics, where you have an entire set of people jobs which is transporting goods. Well, the thing is that already does exist, right? You have some people that focus more on resource transportation, stuff like that, because they upgrade things like their carts and stuff, but it's more of like a player driven thing within their own like groups. And it will probably become more like logistics based players will probably become more of a thing once we get the merchanting gameplay loop, at least like if I'm looking at how Minch described it in his stream about the merchanting gameplay loop like a while back. That could potentially bring in a sort of player-driven logistics system and transportation. But yeah. Someone was talking about last Minch stream, they saw a cart attached to a mount, if I remember correctly. Minch commented it looked like it was connected. It seemed like a hint of the new mount. I missed that one, so yeah. I don't know. I think I remember you guys talking about that hint. I mean, to be fair, they've talked about wanting to have a like a mount to actually connect to your carts and wagons for a while, so it would be cool if they're actually gonna be getting to a point of being able to implement that. I think that is something that a lot of players would really want. And I think, again, if they're going to be doing like a sort of logistics gameplay loop with the merchanting update, I feel like it would be smart to preface that with like content updates that improve the logistics system. So a mount that like carries a cart, you know, being able to make it easier for you to transport your resources faster would make sense as like an update before you end up adding like a logistics-based loop like the merchanting gameplay loop. Just described IRL river politics. I know. because this game mimics a lot of IRL political things in that sense. But yeah, that's the reason why, like, there's a situation there where what ends up happening is because you're impacting the other player's fun, it either becomes something that devs have to police, which there's just not enough people on the dev team that are, like, working on Bitcraft to be able to constantly be policing whether or not people are trolling each other with water terraforming. Land terraforming is technically also capable of trolling, right? It's possible to troll people with land terraforming, but not quite to the same extent as it is with water terraforming. Just because of the fact that, like, the change between land and water is requires a lot more effort to, like, deal with, right? If you're, like, walking over land and there's a bit of a higher piece of land, you can kind of usually go around it, or worst case scenario, you terraform it back down, but it's never as much of a problem as if you're walking across land and then you stumble into a giant river, right? Yeah. I can think of some ways to do it, like limiting terraforming to inside claims, restricting how deep, shallow you can terraform it to, but I assume they've considered those and there are still problems. Well, yeah, exactly. There's still... The problem is if you limit it to within claims, then again, if we go back to this river problem that I was talking about earlier, if I put my claim at the mouth of a river, if I put my claim at the mouth of a river, then I can just, take that, cover that river in my claim, and then I can terraform it sealed shut anyway. Did Pandashai get eaten by Legion? Oh, yeah. Huh. Interesting. Yeah, I've seen Legion has been snatching up some people. Which is I think Moonlight's also expanded a bit, didn't it? The Empires are the Empires are claiming. They're fighting. Panda won. I think they temporarily gave the tower over. I have no idea. I haven't really been paying attention to any of the politics around recently. Oh, I got it? Oh, I did. Bum, bum. Yeah, I remember someone mentioning a while back that, like, Legion had started attacking some of the other smaller empires near them. Which is unfortunate, but, like, at the same time, it doesn't surprise me, because if the player base as a whole is becoming less active, it's much more likely that especially the smaller empires are just going to be too inactive to sustain themselves. Whereas something as massive as Legion doesn't have that problem. Also because the massive empires. I still don't like the Hexite deposits. I've talked about this before in the past. I'm not a fan of the Hexite deposits, but I think even, especially in this situation, in, like, something like this where, people are becoming less active, the Hexite deposits once again exacerbate the difference between like small and large empires. I recognize what they wanted to do with it by creating a a point of contention, like, you know, a sort of objective for empires to fight over. The problem with it is really what it just became was all the big empires made agreements to have, like, sort of equal amounts of those, and then it's denied everybody else that wasn't a big empire from ever having a chance against them. Because essentially, like what Legion's doing now, where they've, like, snatched up some land from, like, 2 or 3 smaller empires, in theory, Umbilica, Legion, and Moonlight could take the entirety of Region 4. That's just not... It's not even a question. Like, they could quite easily, between the 3 of them, own the entirety of Region 14. They actively, for the most part, at least until now, have chosen not to do so. Which is really the only reason that any of the small empires are able to exist. And I don't think that that's good. I don't think it's really well designed from that point of view. Because, like, some people say, like, the empires have, you know, oh, but a bigger empire has, like, a higher cost. But it doesn't really have a higher cost. Like, towers don't really cost that much to maintain. And again, if you get one of the Hexite deposits, that one's gonna pay for most of your towers. The Hexite deposits give more than enough energy to maintain most of your towers for the average empire. And if you get more than one, you're set. Speaking of politics, when will the devs add assassination mechanics? War, never. All the big empires made agreements and the small empires were screwed over. Speaking of real politics, yeah. Yeah, it's why, like, I'm happy that we have our Imperium, right? I'm glad that we have our piece of land. But truth be told, if the people in Umbilica were not friendly and had just said, no, we're not gonna sell that, like, plot of land to you, I probably never would have engaged with the Empire system. It's the reason why I didn't engage in the Empire system in the first early access either. Because while I understand, again, they want big empires to be, like... They want there to be a difference between big and small empires. And I do think that's fine. I think right now, it's just so heavily skewed in the benefit of large empires that realistically, if the large empires wanted to stop the small ones from playing the game, they could. And so you're entirely reliant on essentially goodwill or laziness. Like, one of the things that I think would make more sense is similar to how your claim supply upkeep increases the larger your claim is, right? So as you hit different milestones in total area, not only for, like, every amount of tiles does it increase by, like, 1, but when you hit certain milestones, the cost per batch of tiles also increases. Right? So, like, for example, at the start, it might be 1 supply for every 100, like, tiles claimed, right? This is just an example. This is not the exact numbers. But, like, once you then hit 2,000 tiles, it becomes 2 supplies for every 100. That's how it, like, slowly starts to increase more and more, meaning the bigger your claim gets, the more the upkeep increases, and in a non-linear fashion. Right? If it was just linear, it wouldn't really matter, but it's... Well, I mean, I guess technically it kind of... No. Yeah, it is non-linear. Which is good, I think. Because, again, that becomes self-regulating. I think it would make sense if empires worked the same way, where the cost of maintaining towers would increase the more towers you have. And again, non-linearly. So the bigger your empire, the harder it is to maintain. Because that way, it actually becomes, one, the effects of having like a hexite deposit becomes less pronounced, because now those become a necessity in order to maintain your empire. If you're trying to get a large empire, makes a reason for people to fight over them. And then two, it means that like the smaller empires have more of a reason to exist, because the bigger empires have to debate between, oh, do we take land from these small people, spending our resources and making ourselves open to attack, and also increasing our overall like resource costs because we're, you know, hitting the next size milestone. Oh, whoops. That was whoopsie. I misclicked. Or do we just, you know, take our core area as we've got it and be comfortable with that? Just got to add irregular tower warfare and stealing hexite deposits to give small empires a chance. Well, that was actually an example that I can't remember who one of the other partners and I both had that like similar idea of basically making it so that hexite deposits are gatherable by anyone, but the empire that owns the tile gets slightly more, right? So like if everyone that gathers the hexite deposit gets 500 hexite energy, the one who owns the area that the hexite deposit's in gets, what did I say, 500? So if everyone gets 500, the one who owns it gets like 550, you know, like 10% more, something. But yeah. It's not a perfect solution, but it's like an example of like something that I think would, again, make it more fair. And, you know, give everybody else also a bit of a chance. Small empires retreat to hidden claims in the swamps and jungles, emerging to intercept and harass hexite gathering missions. Guerrilla warfare. I would have expected they would have a mechanic like that for towers. Like tower cost is cost times 1.2 to the power of the number of towers. So each tower increase total cost by 20% or something. Yeah, to my knowledge, they don't. At least, or if they do, it's not noticeable. The cost of 10 towers is more than double the cost of 5. Yeah, and I do think that's good, because I think that's, I mean, like, they do know that system, and they do like that system, because that's what they do with claim, like, upkeep, right? The supply upkeep of claims works in that exact same way, where as you hit certain milestones, the quantity per so many tiles increases. But I don't believe that that system is in place for Empire towers. And again, if it is, it's not noticeable. Honestly, just exponential growth of cost would be easiest balance and seems so obvious. I don't know why they don't have it. To be fair, the Empire system has always been a bit of a weird one. Because originally the Empire system was the premium currency function of the game. So like the early access 1 version of Empires actually ran off of instead of hexite energy, which we have now, it actually worked off of your actual, like, you know, premium currency hexite.
It's still hot, so care.
Still hot, so care? Alright. Alright, Beans. You heard Star. Thank you for the hydrate, stretch, posture check, everybody. Drink your water, stretch your muscles, take care of your bodies. Please and thank you. So, hi, Mochi. Hello, Bean. How's it going? Oh, my water is warm. Icky. I know. Yeah, that's how I feel. But yeah, so like, I think the to a certain extent, the Empire system kind of feels like it's still very much a skeleton of what it's eventually supposed to be, right? Because the original version of it was it was originally supposed to be the premium currency system of the game. So you would spend your premium currency to get your Hexite energy, essentially. Like, you would spend your premium currency to make your empire and to maintain your empire. And essentially the cosmetic of this was before the game had the cosmetics, right? The cosmetic microtrans and pets and stuff like that. Essentially the idea was just you would get to paint the map with your group's like name and whatever at the cost of premium currency. People just didn't really vibe with it that much, and I think overall it just wasn't a good monetization system. How they've done it now, instead, that it is just a normal like gameplay loop and then the monetization is tied to actual cosmetics instead of something that's not even really noticeable. Like, really, the Empire Towers were basically an NFT almost, which, yeah. So, like, I think now it's a bit better, but I do think that the actual, like, systems in place for empires still need to be, like, properly worked through. One, to create, like, a good balance. Because I don't think they should make it impossible for big empires to exist, but I do think it should be exponentially more difficult to maintain a larger empire. One, because that mimics real life, right? The bigger the empires that existed, the harder it was for them to, maintain their existence. But I think that also makes it a bit more balanced for player groups. That smaller groups of players can still have their smaller empires without being entirely at the whims of a larger empire, right? Because, like, if Legion decided to attack us, for example, we would try to put up a fight, but reasonably, it just wouldn't work. It would be unlikely. Like, we'd probably be able to hold them off for a while because we've got a decent stock. But eventually it would just get to a point that we wouldn't be able to produce at a level that they. And so unless we would get outside help, it would essentially just be and then that's not necessarily an issue, but it's a case of, like, if they were to take territory from us, it should be because they have 10 people contributing to the war when we have 5, right? But right now, if we both had 5 people contributing to the war equally, they would win. Because they have Hexite deposits. Which is the part of it that I don't like. The reason why I have such an issue. But yeah. Anyway. Wanna go? Second. I gotta release the feed. A brat. Daddy. Oh no, my doubloon. My doubloons. Gonna keep collecting, but gotta like, okie dokie rocket, thank you for the lurk bean. Appreciate you. Don't know what I'm paying with my broken tailbone, but my foot's getting a oh bean. Take care of yourself, okay? And be careful. You can't be going around here breaking tailbones. Tailbones are important. I know they're small, but like they're still important. Let me grab you next. Boop. Okay. I think... Here's the next package. I fell on the bathroom floor because my left ankle decided I should hug the floor. Ugh. Classic. I thought it was not broken at first until I needed to go to the door. Yeah. The problem with, the biggest thing with broken bones, and I think it's a thing that a lot of people, in a lot of cases, people don't realize this, but broken bones, or like breaking something, hurts way less than spraining. Usually, because the process of breaking cuts off a lot of the nerves that are able to, you know, indicate how much pain you're in. So when you fall, like really badly, and it hurts, but it doesn't hurt like a crazy amount, that's not actually a good sign. But it's why in a lot of cases, like people will then, because it doesn't hurt that much, they'll decide to not get it checked out, and then like much later, it'll turn out that like something's broken. And like potentially heal incorrectly. That's why whenever you have a nasty fall, even if it doesn't hurt like crazy bad, you should always make sure to get it checked, just in case. There are a lot of like breakages and fractures that can kind of just hide essentially under the radar because you don't feel the pain as much as you would think. Sleeping it's hell? I believe that. The tailbone kind of is present with everything that we do in modern society. My foot was luckily not broken. Well, my tailbone, they don't do anything. Yeah, they can't. The problem, that's the other thing that's like the problem with the tailbone. Because it's so small and because of where it is, it's very difficult to actually do anything with it, depending on how it breaks. So in most cases, you kind of just have to leave it to heal on its own as best it can, which sucks. Hopefully they've given you some good pain medication, though, Richie. scream a lot when I have to turn to my left or right. Yeah, painkillers don't work either. Are you using normal painkillers? Bean, they're not... Normal painkillers are not made for this. I suggested oxy, but I refused. Let me be in pain instead of getting addicted. Going on painkillers? Okay. So, I understand your concern. And of course, it is entirely your choice. That being said, as long as you are using a recommended dosage of a painkiller, the way addiction works is it's based on thresholds, right? Just like anything in life you can get addicted to, when it comes to chemicals, it's based on thresholds. If you are consuming based on the prescription and how, like, the doctor prescribes it to you, you're generally gonna be fine. Like, it's pretty unlikely that you're going to develop an addiction unless you start to go off of what the prescription is. So when you start to consume more than what they're prescribing or more often than what they say, then you're going to have a problem of getting addicted. Because the thing is, all painkillers are addictive. Every single painkiller is addictive. Or can be addictive. It's just about consumption threshold. I'd rather not use addictive painkillers, but all painkillers are. So even if you're using paracetamol is addictive. Not quite in the same way, but people do build a dependency on paracetamol when they use it too much. Because, like, for example, actually, in the Netherlands, it's one of the reasons why paracetamol is much less effective here is because people use it too much. They build up a tolerance and a dependency. That's why a lot of people end up in situations of, like, chronic pain. But, like, every single painkiller technically is. But it's down to dosage, right? It's the reason why, like, no one's out here making issues about paracetamol, for example, because you'd have to consume it in really high quantities. In the same case, something like oxy, as long as you are consuming it at a regulated quantity and for a regulated amount of time, because it's those two things, it's dosage and time. As long as you're using it, like, in a regulated dosage and over a regulated amount of time, it's extremely unlikely that you develop an addiction or a dependency. Because if that wasn't the case, if you would actually get addicted to it just from using it normally, doctors wouldn't be prescribing it in the first case. It's why, like, there are some drugs and chemicals that, you know, also could work, but because even in a trying to, like, regulate someone's consumption of it will still end up getting them addicted, they don't prescribe it. There's nothing if I don't have to. No, that's fair, and that's not bad. Like, that's also good, right? I never use painkillers, generally, because I vehemently like believe that we overprescribe painkillers in the Netherlands, especially when it comes to, like, paracetamol. And what's the other one? The pink one. Can't remember the name right now. But, like, those two, the two, like, main ones, people, like, overuse them so much that they barely work, and some people develop a dependency to it. To the point that, like, me, when I really do have, like, a severe headache, I can take half a paracetamol and I'm good. Right? Because I haven't developed a tolerance to it. But I know people that will take like 3 of them before it has an effect because they overuse it. But again, that's like it's a time and dosage thing because they're regularly using it over a prolonged period of time and usually in higher quantities than what is prescribed. They end up getting a tolerance / dependency. We gotta eat egg. Get that stamina regen on. Pop into the uncharted shipment there. There's a decent amount of shipments right here. High numbers, by numbers. How many do we? Still got 10, 11 slots. Basically 12 slots. And then you still got also 23 over here. I've got plenty of space for collecting shipments. I'm gonna go play some Resident Evil 4 because the burb demands it. The burb needs Leon. The burb needs Leon. And you must provide. Have fun, Mochi. Take care, Bean, okay? Take good care of yourself. She's like, there's something wrong with your foot and your butt, but your hands are good. Exactly. Your hands can still work. You can still play the video game. That's all that matters to the burb. Oh, also, there's no longer Kitty, so we can turn off cat cam. Perhaps Kitty will return later, but since there is no Kitty currently, no need for cat cam to be. It's so stuffy today, man. I'm not vibing with this weather. I'm not a fan. I need a fan, That's what. I'm not a fan of the heat, but I need a fan to deal with the heat. I don't think it's going to be a particularly long stream today either. I'll probably go for the 3 hours, so go for like another half hour-ish. And then get ready to wrap up. I want to start doing longer streams again, more consistently. But I think right now with like the heat and everything, it's just possible. It's cooler outside here today, but the buildings still need a few days to catch up. Oh yeah, no, outside it is a bit cooler now than it was like earlier in the week. But my room like also is just really good at trapping heat. Like my room is just a standard like 5 degrees warmer than outside. So like while the outside temperature today, let me look. The outside temperature for most of today was like 22-ish. In my room, it's like 27. It's just kind of the unfortunate side effect of an attic that's really good at capturing heat. My rooms are... Yeah, but you're also in an apartment complex, so that's especially rough, Star. I can check the exact temperature. Let me turn on... Yeah, I guesstimated perfectly. It's 27. In my room. Boy. And there's also just not a really good airflow right now either, which is not helping. All the, like, musky, stuffy air just kind of stays here. Went to 25 here, but I bet inside's way over 30. Yeah. That's what it's been for me all week as well. Boy. It's so, like, uncomfortably warm. The problem is, like, by the time it, like, is gonna start to cool down, it's already gonna start to warm up again. Because I'm pretty sure... Actually, no, it is predicted to be, like, pretty consistently cooler for at least the rest of this coming week. That's good. Might actually get to have, like, a normal week. And not have to turn my air conditioner on for an entire week. That'll be crazy! It's a wild Zozo. Hi, Zozo. Hello, Zozo. What is Zozo doing today? I'm thinking of having neighbors all around except one side of windows and not many of them. Yeah. Yeah. The problem also with having windows only on one side is if those windows are also facing the sun, it's not going to help you either. Hey, cool weather for my European friends. Hello. How is Zozo doing? That's cutie Zozo. They gave me arms in front of my cooling unit to chill the bites. Aww. Yeah, morning sun. Okay, that's nice at least. I get all day sun, sadly. In the morning, the sun is on one, like, because I have windows on both sides. So in the morning, the sun goes through the one window, and then in the afternoon, it goes in through the other window. And in between the two, when it's not going in through one of the windows, it's shining directly onto the roof. So it gets just constantly baked by the sun. And I hate it. I hate it. You just need to be able to earn enough money so that I can move out, so that I don't have to deal with this anymore. I'm good. I wrapped part of my kitchen counter today. What? What do you mean by wrapped part of your kitchen counter? Explain, please. Because, like, I'm imagining that you covered your kitchen counter in, like, cellophane or something. Like, the plastic wrap, you're just like... What are you doing? Willingly subjugated myself to a hairdryer. Ah. Wrapping in plastic stick-on stuff? Okay, but what for? I'm confused. Why are you wrapping your counter in plastic? Question. My little brain needs an explanation. Stupid, cheapo American countermeasure. Ah, okay, so it's like supposed to be like a protective coating, or don't want to cause more water damage. Ah, okay, I see. Gotcha. Now it makes sense. Nope. Oh my god. Ooh. I don't know why I'm all of a sudden feeling like really tired. My brain is going into sleep mode. It's weird because I did sleep plenty. It might just be again like the humidity making me tired. Also, I haven't eaten that much today. I have eaten, but I haven't eaten that much. I should probably. But it's like almost dinner time soon, so there's no point in like making something right now either. Eh. Too many first world problems. One over there. Oh, we lost a bobcat. We regained a bobcat. Got a cat overboard. God, it's so warm. I like air out my room, but it's just not helping. Nothing's helping, man. Both my windows open. The one's open as much as it can because it's all hooked up to it. Not the door open. The other window is also open. Another part of the house that's hopefully gonna cause some kind of airflow through, but like my room should. Probably also, actually no, my computer is not actually blowing out very hot air. It's entirely just my room. New shipment ahoy! Let me see. I'm already. I'm gonna head back yet? No, I don't think I'm. Can still collect it. Get a couple more. At 5,000 doubloons. Don't know how many doubloons I've got left. What's it called? My ship and my container. My cache. There we go. Words hard. Not much. We haven't really stumbled into many like big clusters. Again, we haven't been close to the edge. We haven't really been in the correct areas for big clusters. Oh, transfer. I should have made like some gathering, make this faster. Because this gathering speed just isn't fast enough. It's not bad, but like it could be way. But I'd have to do both fishing and growing some star bulbs in order to do that. Bleh. At some point I also need to start upgrading my tool again. Like, what tools would I upgrade? I mean, most of them, but which ones am I currently betters? Probably a better. I wonder if there's a better hoe in them. Check. Mitajita. Couple. Oh, I thought I clicked on it. I did not. It would help if I actually clicked on it to gather, huh? I've been told that that generally increases the overall amount of resources that you're able to, actually gather them. And not just stare at them like a dummy. But then again, it is me we're talking. You're not the only one that does that. That's true. I think it happens so often that you decline it. You click. I do wish, to a certain extent, like, I understand why it happens, right? Because it changes into a different node after the first part. But it would be really nice if they could eventually make a system where, you didn't have to click twice. That just the initial click was all you need, and then it would immediately continue the 20-second. In here. That would be phenomenal. Market still throwing trinket top chest. Oh yeah, if you're getting extra trinkets from your pirates maps, rocket, you can just shred them. You don't need to like put those in the top chest. Because we're kind of at that point where I think everyone has their trinkets. We also have a good supply of extra trinkets in storage. But, like, we have enough trinkets, I think, at this point that it can really break down any from this point forward. I'd honestly be surprised if there's anyone playing at this point that doesn't have at least. Like, unless, of course, excluding people that only started playing recently. But, like, anyone that's actually, like, been able to participate in the Isles content, I would be shocked if they don't or have ult. Out of curiosity. I'm curious if people are selling. They are selling the. Oh shit! There's someone selling the digging crate. Wait, someone's selling a mythic compass for almost 1 million hex. God damn. That's crazy. Honestly, I don't. I don't imagine someone would actually even I feel like the people that would be able to spend 1,000,000 hex in order to buy the mythic compass would probably already have one of their own. Right. I've seen trinkets up to... Yeah, that's the mythics. Yeah. On the market. That's what I was saying. There is a mythic, There's a mythic compass currently on one of the markets. I was looking on Beatjita to see, like, what people are selling trinkets for. Because I was curious if, because obviously there's so many trinkets there. Like, basically every trinket costs just $100. But yeah, there is a mythic compass right now in Jerusalem for just under 1,000,000 hex. Which again, I feel like anyone that has 1,000,000 hex lying around probably plays this game so much that they already were able to grind out the mythic trinkets themselves. Generally. Unless they really didn't enjoy, like, any gameplay. I guess possible. So when I was there, was tempted and then remembered I only had 20k. Yeah. The thing is, it's also just not worth it. Because, like, if you think of the trinket, right? Even okay, the trinket is worth like $100. Sure. But then if you look at like doubloons are selling, people are buying doubloons for around 4 hex each and selling them for 6. So let's average that out and just go with 5 doubloons. 5 hex per doubloon, right? In order to get to a mythic, you need less than 100,000 doubloons in total, right? Even if we even if we go for 6 hex per, and let's go overestimate, right? Because you need 50,000 plus 15,000. It's 67,000 or something doubloons. So let's go with like 70,000 doubloons. Right, let's even it out just a bit higher. Ruby! Hi, Ruby. Give me your bits. I don't got no bits to give. I'm sorry. But like, okay, just to make the math easy, let's say we need 70,000 doubloons to make a mythic. If you're buying all of those doubloons at 6 hex per doubloon, you're still only gonna be at 420,000 hex. You don't even hit 500,000 hex. So there's not a world in which a mythic trinket is worth 1,000,000 hex. It's just a scam. At the current prices. Probably later on, it might like increase in value when the doubloons become, lower in circulation. But at the current doubloon cost, a mythic trinket should not cost more than like 500,000 hex at most. Or at least you shouldn't be spending more than 500,000. Wagwan, hi Tao, hi Ruby, welcome in Raiders. Sorry, we were mathing out and nerding out. How is it? How was your stream? I saw you were drawing pretty artsies. Lads, if you're still here, can we get a shout out for Ruby, please? Announcers are putting pens down for a different craft. I saw you were doing Magus Bride art, right? I was stalking you earlier. Last week I had a spine. This week I regret ever having one. Oh no, Sluggy. That's why you gotta stretch your back, man. Don't recommend lower back pain to anyone. That's why you gotta stretch, man. Stretching's important. I have friends 5 years younger than me that have way more like back and muscle and like neck aches and everything. And I don't have any of it because I stretch regularly. Thank you, Sean. Thank you, Sluggy, for the shout out. Appreciate it. You have to craft them first, true. If we craft the bits, then you can have some. But it's gonna take a bit, because right now we're fishing up the bits and bobs. Also the bobs. Get it? Because bobbing them there. No? I thought it was. The stream was good, though not happy with this piece. 2024 Ruby didn't do a great job starting it. Nah. 2024 Ruby did a wonderful job using her 2024 skills. Whereas 2026 Ruby has simply improved so much that she is now able to do better. Yeah. Oh, gather. Takes a bit to craft a bit. Leave it on my rock when you're done. Will do. Do you want it on the rock or under the rock? Determined to finish it. Can't be... If I can be bothered. Attempt to fix her forehead. Hey, also remember, some people just have irregular foreheads. Some people have 5 heads. Some people have 6 heads. Or I saw a picture the other day of this person. Actually, no, it was earlier today. I can't remember what I was watching. But they were doing like some ridiculous like news clips. And it was some like right-wing commentator who was talking about how like a company had apparently gone like woke and then went bankrupt, which turned out to entirely not be the case, right? What a surprise. But this woman, I swear to God, had like half of her face was a forehead. Like, I don't want to, like, not to be rude, but holy shit. Her forehead was huge. I was just, I literally could not look at anything else she was showing because her forehead was just enormous. It was crazy. It literally was half her face. Was that not the raid message? On the rock so the sun can heat it? Got it. Gotcha. How is the bidding crafting going? It's going good. We just been out sailing, gathering more doubloons, as one does. Collecting the booty. True, honestly, I think I just did realize how the head would look until I put color on, sadly. I mean, that's also fair. To be fair, when something's colored in versus when it's not is also, like, there's a big... It's when you color it in, it becomes more similar to what your face and, like, what your body is, or mind is used to recognizing as a face. That makes sense. It turned out to not be the case. Shocked. I know, right? It's crazy. It's almost like they just say things to further their agenda without actually paying attention to any of the facts. Almost. That noise scared the bejesus out of me. The dino door? Also, Ribby, thank you for the 125 streak. Holy heck. That's huge. That's so many streams. That's 5 times 25. That's a lot of streams. That's so many. Considering I do 5 streams a week, that's 25 weeks of streams back to back without having missed any of them. Which is wild. Oh dear, that does sound unfortunate, right? Like, it's just, I don't know. Oh, no! Oh god. Couldn't see the box. Sorry, Rocket. There was a lot of words coming out, but Sen was confused because there didn't seem to be a mouth anywhere on the head until he looked further down. Yeah, no. But I swear to God, like, it was just, I don't know what it was. Like, it was probably something like her, like, makeup or... Like, it was probably like her makeup or something else that was making it look so bad. But, like, it just... I literally could not pay attention to anything she was saying because my like eyes were just transfixed on the size of her forehead. And I know that sounds really, really mean, and I don't mean it in like a... For me, right, as someone who's learned a lot about like the skeleton, I tend to stare at people a lot because when I'm looking at you, I'm imagining what your... Okay, that sounds really creepy. But I'm imagining what your skeleton looks like. I know that sounds terrifying. And it is. But it is also just kind of the truth. Nah. Bob said so on Facebook, so it must be true. True. And Pauline shared it. Which means if both Bob and Pauline agree, it cannot be anything other than the whole truth. You were semi-mumbling and out of nowhere there was a sudden noise. You'd be on the 25 business week streak. Oh, was I? I don't know. It was like when Players came and resubbed in my stream Friday. Scared the bejeepers out of me. Oh no, we got an ad coming up. Alright, well. Chat, take this chance to stretch, drink, self-care, do all of that jazz. We'll go for like a little bit longer because I don't want to end right after we get raided. But I don't think we're gonna go for like super long today. Because I was feeling... I'll go until dinner's ready. I'm not cooking tonight, so I can keep playing until dinner's ready. Then we'll end up. Send stares into your skeleton, yes. Imagine flirting like that. I do that all the time. What do you mean? My go-to pickup line for a guy is, I bet you have a pronounced mastoid process. Gets them every time, man. Mm-hmm. No, please tell us what you really think when you see people. Listen, okay? It's just so like, cause eventually when you start to learn more about like the human skeleton, you start to understand a lot of like how people look and why they look that way because of like their skeleton and the muscles around it and how that like creates that shape. And that like appearance. And you also start to learn about all the like smaller irregularities that people can have that can like change their proportions or make them look like a bit strange, right? So like for example, sometimes people, it is possible, right? We normally have 12 vertebrae in our spine. It is possible for people to be born with a 13th vertebra. It happens. It is not wholly uncommon. I know someone who has a 13th vertebra. And so when you see them, like the proportions between their torso and their legs and arms is slightly off. Their torso is longer than it looks like it should be, right? And generally, even for someone who doesn't know a lot about like the general skeletal structure of a person, you'll know that like your mind is pretty good at noticing that like something's slightly off. You know, the whole uncanny valley thing. It's like something doesn't quite look right, but like you can't really figure out what. But then once you actually have the knowledge of those kinds of things, you start to notice it a lot more. And you're like, oh wait, that's why this person looks strange. And so whenever I see something like that, like this person with her very large forehead, I just can't help but sit there and imagine what her skull must look like. I must depart for work. Okie dokie, Coco. Thank you for hanging out, lovely. I appreciate you. I hope work goes well, Bean. You better stay hydrated as well. And not just drinking caffeine. Boo, Sag. Bye, Coco. Hope you have a good shift. Yeah. You're just walking around in the golden saucer, no? I was indeed too focused on thinking about triple triad. Triple triad. I love triple triad. That being said, what always happened with me with Triple Triad was like the first few times I played it, I had no idea what was going on and I didn't understand a thing. Then I understood how it worked, and then I realized that I didn't have good cards, and then I was still upset. And then I wanted to go around and start getting good cards, and then I just never got to that point. So I started doing other stuff. That's like my story with everything to do with Final Fantasy XIV, is like all these ideas and all these things that I wanted to do, and then I just don't get around to doing any of them. Flash now lives in the golden saucer. Oh dear. We've lost our boy to gambling. I always knew it would happen someday. I always knew something would steal him away from us. And it was the gambling at the golden saucer that did it. Hey girl, tell me how your skull plates are placed. I bet you have beautiful skull plates. I bet they're still really defined. That means you're young. I'm calling you young, by the way. Did you know that? So like if you've seen a skull, you see like those kind of like the sutures along the different portions and pieces of the skull. Those are all there because as a child, right? Like most of the bones in your body are all disconnected from each other so that they can grow. When you get to an adulthood, they obviously will start to fuse and seal up. But the older you get, those sutures on your skull actually slowly start to disappear as like the bone fully like emerges and like fuses along those lines. And eventually it just becomes completely smooth. So that entire like back of your skull basically just becomes like a nice smooth marble. It's pretty cool. It's really funny to see. It's why they use it. It's used in some areas as a potential age identifier. However, it's not very accurate. Like, for the most part, the main thing you can just say is the less sutures that are still visible on the skull, the older the person is. But other than that, eh. They've tried in the past to like tie it to specific age ranges, but there's just way too much variation. Price found the golden saucer. He did indeed. He is one with the saucer. Oh no. Eek. Eek? Okay, if you should have finished listening before I freaked out. That's why babies are really squishy. Yes. So baby skulls, the reason actually that your skull is made up of multiple smaller plates and pieces is, well, it's twofold. One, so that they can grow, right? So that your skull can grow as you grow up and get bigger. But two is, in a lot of cases, the child's head would be too big to actually like pass through the birth canal, and so the plates are in all these smaller pieces so that they can actually crush together and like fold over each other, like overlap each other a bit, so that the head can squish through the birth canal. Which is why in a lot of cases, like newborns actually kind of have a pointy head because it's actually the two like plates at the top of the skull are overlapping each other in the middle, and so it's created a little point on the head like a little arrow, and then after a bit of time they will slowly push out again. Pretty funny. Look, I'm making me feel even more self-conscious about my skull now. I'm sure none of your sutures have obliviated. That's the term, by the way, for the sutures disappearing. Which means you have a young skull. I believe. I trust. Also, why you should never touch a baby's head too strong. Yes. Also, why you should never leave a baby lying in the same position for a prolonged period of time. Because their skull can actually, like, deform. If you leave a baby, like, lying on its back for an entire day, can actually, like, deform a bit of, like, the back of the skull. Because it's also malleable still. Your ears have snails and streamers in them, and it's technically connected to your nose as well. I think there's only one sentence about my skull that would work for me. Uh-huh. Do those snails double up as my brain? And the reason babies freak me out. Babies are really freaky, man. It's like a plow, yes. They work sort of like trumpet horns and take in noise from the vibes in the air. They're just vibing, you know? They're just telling you how the air vibes. And the vibes today are immaculate. My skull wasn't kind to me. It stayed too tiny. Oh dear. The streamer's vibrating is what gets sent to your brain hole and does the analog to brain translation. Only if it's plugged correctly, though. As opposed to my skull that grew, but my brain didn't. Pokey, I bet you have really sad looking orbitals. That's a compliment, by the way. Means you're masculine. Sad looking what? What? The orbits. The orbits are the part of your skull that your eyes are sitting in. And when we are attempting to sex the skull, which is not a naughty thing, before you start to be weird about it, that is what it's called when you're trying to estimate the sex of a skull. Here, the rocket again. But when you try to sex the skull, one of the things that you look at is the orbits, which are, again, the holes where the eyes are. And in more masculine looking ones, they're a bit more square and kind of sad looking. So, by saying I bet you have sad looking orbits and saying you have a masculine facial structure. You look manly. Probably. I've not a single clue. Just. You think someone looks really like muscular as well? You can tell them that they probably have a large external occipital protuberance. Another one that we used to help try to... It's actually one of the ones that they use for like determining sex in the skull that is kind of dumb. Because there's basically... So, at the back of your skull, right? You have a lot of muscles in the back of your neck. Because our skull is not well balanced. Right? Generally, if you... if you look at the skull, it's very, it's not well balanced, so it kind of tends to, if it didn't have enough musculature, if we had an even amount of muscles on both sides, or if there was no muscle happening, it would droop forward, just naturally, because of how, the weight distribution in our skull is. So, at the back of our neck, there is a lot of extra muscle to help keep your skull in place. And to help you keep your skull looking up, so that you can actually see in front of you. And not just stare at the floor all day. Which, to be fair, those muscles are probably atrophying with everybody on their phones nowadays. But, a lot of those ones attach to the back, the occipital bone, the back bottom part of your skull. And depending on how muscular you are, those muscles can actually pull and reshape the bone back there, creating the external occipital protuberance, which is essentially like this little, bump of bone that sticks out at the back of your skull. And it can actually get, depending on how much muscle a person has and how big their muscles are and how much it's pulling on that bone, it can go so far as to not just be like a little bump or a nub. It can become like a nub, but it can even become like a little hook. of bone at the back there that the muscles are all just holding on to. And generally, the more pronounced it is, generally that's used to score more masculine when trying to determine the sex of a skull. But as if you were like paying attention to what I was saying, it was entirely based on muscle. Meaning that if you have someone of the female sex who just happens to have a lot of strong muscles, you know, like for example, a female bodybuilder, they could have the same kind of skeletal like protuberances there in those same areas. Meaning that when you're trying to determine the sex of a skull, even if you end up scoring masculine, there's always very much a possibility that it is not actually a male, but just a female with very strong muscles. Which I actually had an example of when I was studying back in the day. We had a skeleton with a skull that scored very, very masculine. But then when we got to the pelvis, it ended up definitely being a woman's pelvis. Because you could see that she had given birth at some point. Because there's another fun fact for all the whammons out there. And more reason to respect whammons. There's a possibility that when you give birth, if you're giving birth through the birth canal, that it can actually, the baby can damage your pelvis internally. So, just another reason to be terrified of childbirth and have extreme respect for anybody that births a child. There is a actual like visible not destruction, but damaging of an internal side of the pelvis that only can happen through childbirth. And it's not, it doesn't have any adverse side effects, right? It's just something that like can happen. It won't like be something that plagues you for the rest of your life. It's not even something that'll be noticeable after, you know, the child has been born. But if you see it on a pelvis, if you know what it looks like and you see it on a pelvis, you know that pelvis, that person has given birth at least once. Which is the easiest way to indicate that an individual is female. Bodies are so fascinating. There's so many interesting little details that you can learn. Like the entire concept of like sexual dimorphism. Which, if you're not familiar with the term of sexual dimorphism, that's essentially within any given species, how different sexes will present differently. Also, holding a oblong shape on a thin stick requires quite a bit of musculature. Yes. Correct. Mans look like a Cro-Magnon. Let me stick a couple blocks with jello between them. What about the boob bones? I mean, technically, you can have ossification of all sorts of different parts of your body. Which is to say, where tissue that's not supposed to be bone can turn into bone. I don't think that can happen around the boobs, but maybe. Sounds like it would be very painful though if it did. Have you seen the sad image of a boy skeleton next to a girl skeleton? What? What? I feel like I can imagine what you're gonna what that is, and I'm kind of terrified. I don't think I've seen it. But I feel like based on the description you're giving, it's going to be very dumb. Can you show me this terrible image? Oh, you know it. Oh, dear. Oh, no. Check general Discord. Oh, terrified. Here we go. What the fuck? Ah, yes, the boob bone. But of course. I... Right now, what's playing in my head is just the meme of, I tell you to act like you're fine, but you're not fine. It's not okay. Everything's fine. Oh my god. The problem is, as like memey as that is, there are so many people that actually believe like things like that. And it's so sad that like our general education in a lot of parts of the world are so subpar that many people don't even end up with like a basic anatomical knowledge or understanding, or even just the ability to like critically think about a number of things or investigate information more than just immediately trusting the first image or piece of text that they see online. Because there are people out there that believe there is a boob bone. Oh, she's supposed to tell the sexes apart without the boob bone. Well, with the penis bone, obviously. With the presence or lack of the penis bone. They can barely remember anything they learned at school. No, but you still have critical thinking. You, like, even if you don't remember the direct things that you might have learned at school, you still have a sense for, like, this is, like, this seems suspicious, or, I need more knowledge here. I think the first anatomy book I read was when I was 5. But the thing is, people generally believe they've done research, then they come across this, and they're like, see my research? Yeah. The other problem is as well, right, is that a lot of people that then do have knowledge are able to twist that knowledge in order to trick people, right? One of the biggest ones that you have, and that's actually something that's like very big in especially pseudoscience. It also happens in actual science, but especially in pseudoscience where people try to, portend or like portray things that are incorrect as the truth. They will twist things like statistics to make things seem way worse than they actually are. Right? or they will use terminology that people aren't as familiar with or have negative connotations with, that while technically correct, create the wrong interpretation, right? So, like, for example, I could say, I have a tumor growing that covers 50% of the underside of my toe. That sounds terrifying when I say that, right? But then, the actual reality is I have a wart underneath my toe. Underneath my, like, pinky toe. That's maybe, like, 2 millimeters wide. But, by using weird terms or terms that are technically correct, you can make something sound way worse or way terrifying or whatever. And that's what people use a lot for, like, scare tactics and for tricking people into believing things that aren't actually, like, problematic. Cracks my penis bone like I'm cracking my neck and fingers. Hey, listen, penis bones are real. Humans are just one of the only animals that don't have one. Mother Nature denied us the penis bone. And I think we should retaliate. There's still people out there that believe only in two genders. There's also people that constantly conflate gender and sex. That's another one. Like, they'll see scientific studies talking about the sexes, the biological sexes, which also there are still more than two. But they'll be talking about, like, sexes, and then they'll be like, see, science says that there is no gender, or there is only these genders. And it's like, no, because gender is a portrayal of personality. Sex is a biological factor. And even then, there's still more than... What the fuck? That makes me kind of want to curl up in a ball thinking... Your stretches? No, you. Alright. Cat. The penis bone cracker has decided we need a stretch, so come on. Stretch with me here. Okay. Ow. I hit my elbow against the desk at the end. Love saying weird shit, of course. What a day to have corrective eyesight. Yeah, that because one of my mums, when she was studying to become a doctor, then I begged her to go to the bookstore for one with bigger letters and more pictures. She got me a fancy one with a person's body and slices to show the different layers. Oh, that's fun. And what a beautiful quote. One more quotes to nice. And that was number 64, so it's 5 more. Or 4 more, and then the next one after that has to be a nice quote. We better get a good quality quote for 69. Otherwise, it's going to be very sad. Why? What are these noises? Stretchy ones. Exactly. Those are stretch noises. Listen, you don't judge me because I make stretch noises, okay? I squeak when I stretch. It just is what it is. We don't need to make it weird, okay? Some people groan, some people moan, I squeak. When stretching. I feel like I have to very specifically put that context in here or someone's gonna take that out of context. Plus bone cracking. You hit your funny bone. Which isn't even a bone, sadly, because that would be humorous. Yes, plan well, quarters. Yeah, you guys better be paying good attention to the quotes. And try to grunt or arg. Dear Lord. I honestly, I know some people that, they stretch and they go like, or they make, all these, deep, manly noises when they're stretching. And then there's me. We just, squeak. I'm just a little guy, okay? Yar. We do a big stretch, we go yar. Yar. Is that the bed or is it you? See? That's what I was saying. Someone's gonna make it weird, and it's always gonna be Blouse. We got a squeaker. Blind and deaf. Now what happens if we put Senisma... Oh god. And Stretch together? You get really quiet squeaks. Probably not, no, because I can't really control the squeaks, so... You'd probably just get the exact same squeaks, but maybe closer to the microphone. Because I usually put the microphone closer to my face when when someone redeems the ASMR. Yeah. However, cutie beans, dinner is ready. So that means I am going to be wrapping up stream. I usually make squeaky something noises when I stretch. Right? Something noises when I stretch, but I seem to unconsciously mute myself when I'm around people. So for me, it's kind of a case of it depends on how intense of a stretch I'm doing. If I'm just stretching so I can just stretch my shoulders where I'll pull the arm just in front of my chest. That's not really a big stretch. That's not really hard to do. And then I don't make a noise. I'm doing that right now. You can't tell. For me, it's the big stretches that elicit the noise, and I can't stop myself. I quite literally cannot stop myself from squeaking when that happens. It's when I'm stretching along my sides, or when you pull your arm up over your head across to the side or something like that. When I'm doing a big stretch, then I squeak. And that's, yeah. It doesn't matter. I've tried in the past to reduce it, and I can maybe make it a bit quieter, but usually what I end up just kind of doing is stretching less intensely if I'm concerned about people hearing me squeak. I think this needs to happen for science. Oh dear, Star's gonna be very upset with you if you do that. Ever do a shout right after a stretch? No. You stretch and just raw. Actually made the exact stretch sound my Final Fantasy 14 character does once. That's crazy. That's crazy. Love that. See? That just means that character really is you. You really are that character. You are one and the same. But yeah, sweet beans. Before I keep getting distracted, I'm gonna start wrapping up the stream here, because it is dinner time, food is ready, and I am hungry. And while I have gotten a little bit more energy thanks to you guys, I definitely need to eat, otherwise I feel like I'm just gonna go flop. So, you know what? I don't usually get to raid him, so we're gonna go raid Tex. Tex is streaming together with Tally. They're playing Outlast Trials, but like usually Tex like streams really late at night, so I don't get to raid him often. And I think the last time we raided Tex was like centuries. We're gonna go raid Tex, and we're gonna get Beaver on the side. Free. Damn, I was waiting for Stretch to get back for redeem. Too bad. Next time. You're just gonna have to remember for next time, Beam. Alright. X is playing Outlast Trials, so it's not quite the same kind of cozy vibes as, what we're having here, but you know, it's still Tex and Tally, so it's still gonna be a good vibe. And we love our wolf daddy. What are they doing in Outlast Trials? I don't know. I don't know what we're gonna do. We're gonna distract him from his trials. There we go. Alright. This is gonna be our raid message. If you do not have access to my emotes, then option 1, for any man in the channel point section right in the chat, you can unlock a static emote of Yoshi's news within the next 24 hours all around Twitch. Wow, I lost all words there for a moment. If you don't want to do that or cannot do that, you can also use Twitch's very own cool cat emote, because you're all a bunch of cool cats. Did you join me in giving some love to Tex? Tex is wonderful. He's a really good, he's just a good homie. Magnificent vibes. And so is the Beaver, so go give them lots of love. If you haven't followed them already, go follow them. Yeah. I appreciate you guys. We'll be back tomorrow. I don't know quite yet with what, but we'll see then. Either way, thank you all for hanging out. I appreciate you. Love you lots. See you there. Okay, bye-bye.